channel. In this episode we're going to be learning how to make 5 more altered prints. First we're starting with these liquid acrylics. On the left side of the screen you can see how I made this print. It was done with acrylic paint and some perfect pearls. The acrylic paint did pick up a little bit of the pearls on the jelly plate, and now I'm trying to make some color on the print so it'll stand out. I tried this stencil on my print to see if I could get a little bit of a design, but it didn't work. No design was left behind, but that's okay. I'm not going to give up on this print. I decided to add some water to it to see if I could get those colors to move a little bit. And then I realized as I was kind of moving this water around with the paint that it was acting like a resist. So I thought that was really cool, that the acrylic paint was actually acting like a paint resist. So I picked up some of that excess water with my paper towel, and then I revealed the cool print underneath. I thought that was really neat, and I kind of left it like that. I thought that was a nice watercolory look. And when I tilted it in the light, you could still see the perfect pearls catching shimmer. So I thought that one turned out really nice. For the next technique, we're going to do some rub-ons. I have this is from Dollar Tree. It's a family affirmations, some positive words that I thought looked really cool. Now for this background, it is a Mod Podge background jelly print and some alcohol inks. So one thing you'll notice as I'm going along here is the color of the black from the rub-on blends into the background and kind of takes on the shininess. I thought that was very interesting. I always learn something new when I'm trying something over these prints. They don't always turn out how I expect, but you can see it picks up the shine, but it is like a muted version of that rub-on. If I were to do this over just white paper, you would see it would be a lot darker. The rub-ons were moving around a little bit, so I taped them on to see if that would help keep them lined up a little bit better. That did work. It helped keep them in line, but for each layer that I did, each row, I would reline it up because it did tend to slide just a little bit. This is a hand workout, I'll tell you. My elbows were feeling this. So after I took the tape off, you can see it does look all shiny. The words are all shiny. It takes on a lot of that color from the background. It just kind of mutes it a little bit. It was really pretty. I thought this was great too. So for our next technique, we're going to use a 3D embossing folder. This actually is not a jelly print. This is the roll off of a jelly print. So when I take my brayer and clean it in between, that's what this is. And I had some gold paint on there, different colors, and I really thought it was pretty. So I wanted to try dressing that piece up a little bit, and that's when I put this black over my texture of the 3D embossing folder. I thought that it was a really cool embossing folder look, especially with the gold showing through and all the different colors. It really looked so dimensional. This was a really fun one. I'm using a water-soluble black Art Crayon. If you have a Tim Holtz Art Crayon, they would work the same way. Distress crayons. So here it has that depth from the black Art Crayon and then the 3D embossing folder shape. So cool. I love this one. I want to make a card with this background. So for our next technique, technique 4, we're going to do a die cut card. This is all one die cut piece, and it cuts out this really pretty happy birthday background. And I'm starting with this kind of a light purple and pink jelly print that I had made. It was pretty just like this, and I needed to figure out what I wanted to put for the card base. So I looked through my other Gelli prints and I found on this black card base I had made another Gelli print with similar colors but a little bit different. So I went ahead and turned that into my card base. Now I'm deciding which side looks better with this design. There's a little more blue and green on this side, so I went with this one. So it could stand out with those pinks and purples. Now, just as is, it did get lost, so I cut out 4 more just plain white of those happy birthday background pieces. And then I thought it would be cool to layer them, but each time that I layered them, I offset them just a little bit. And I'll show you what I mean when I start putting these together. So the very first layer, I kind of went a little to the bottom of this piece of card base, because each layer that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go up and to the left just a little. And you can see it makes it look like it has a little bit of a shadow. It's so that you can see each of those layers. I could have put them flat together and it still would have been dimensional, but I did like how this turned out. My little star up here was getting twisted. So this is the third layer. And I'm going up a little bit of an angle from where the other piece was, offsetting it. Here's our 4th shadow piece. And then finally we'll put our purple and pink top layer on. This one also I put at a little bit of an angle, or off center. Having all those layers on there really helped that front piece stand out from the background. You can see the shadows as I turn it. This turned out so cool. I really like how the layers layer on top of each other. So our next technique, technique 5, is the die cut embellishments. I had made these prints from alcohol ink in one of my previous videos that I'll link. And I wanted to make them into these little ice cream cones. I was practicing to see if the ice cream cone and the brown would line up, and I messed up because I realized there was a stamp and the stamp had a little more to it. So I finished cutting out the rest of my pieces, and then I had to cut out a few more of the brown pieces for the cones. These are all a little bit summery. They feel summery, so I thought they looked really nice with these ice cream cones and little popsicle sticks. So now I was able to stamp on these cone bases. This is just some walnut stained distress ink. Then there was an ice cream part where you could put 2 bands of color. So I did the matching color for each ice cream top. The purple one was Wilted Violet, the blue one was Faded Jeans, the green one Lucky Clover. For the yellow, I used Fossilized Amber. And these are all oxide inks that I'm using. They don't show up very vividly, but I kind of like that. They also, where the distress ink was, it muted it a little, so that middle band was a little more shiny than the other part. I tried the spiced marmalade on the orange and it did not stand out at all, so I did a little bit of Rusty Hinge. And then only on one popsicle, this orange one, I used a little design for the orange rusty hinge. I did the picked raspberry for the pink. This is more like what I was going for. So I ended up coloring in with my walnut stain around each of these cones because it had a white edge. And then it's time to assemble. These would make a really cute little banner, or just on top of on a card front. They're pretty small, so if I was going to do a banner, it would take quite a bit of them, or layered on top of something else. For the popsicle sticks, I was just gluing those on the top of these colorful prints. And then there we go, matching popsicle sticks and ice cream cones. I thought these were really fun and summery. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and please subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll be making some more fun videos to come. See you next time.